Welcome to Jorn, God of Winter. As far as opening hand goes, yeah, I'd like this, but we don't have a green sword. Yeah, let's go mulligan on this one. And yes, we will keep on this one. We've got protection for Jorn, and we've got a snow artifact, which is always nice to see, and we do have vampiric tutor, so we're definitely going to keep on this one. Let's put one of these snow-covered forests on the bottom of our library, and our opponent's going to get the game started. We're playing against Baby Orvar, the baby all form. Excited. See what's going on. But anyway, yes, welcome to Jorn, God of Winter. We're here to have some fun. Let's go and lead off with, I think at this point, we'll probably just go and lead off with Bloodstained Mire. I mean, with Vampiric Tutor, probably one of the things we would go for. Let's just keep us open on Vampiric Tutor. I kind of like that. So let's go for Bloodstained Mire. Let's crack Bloodstained Mire. Let's go and grab ourselves probably a black-blue dual source. Yeah, that'll work out because that keeps us open on Hydroid Crisis. So let's go ahead and get this popped out. Let's grab ourselves Ice Tunnel, have that enter the battlefield tapped, and then anything else pass the turn to our opponent. We're playing Jorn, God of Winter. Whenever Jorn attacks, untap each snow permanent that you control. Then for the backside, we have Cauldron the Rime Staff, activated ability tap. You may play target snow permanent from your graveyard this turn. If you do, it enters the battlefield tap. Playing against Baby Orvar, the all form, which we'll cover in just a second. Ooh, Villainous Wealth. Let's go for Snow-Covered Forest, and let's go Lightning Greaves. That way we can get extra main phase next turn with Mouth. Yeah, I kind of like that. Anything else, pass the turn to our opponent. Playing against Baby Orvar. Changeling. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, if it targets one or more other permanents you control, create a token that's a copy of one of those permanents. Then whenever a spell or an ability an opponent control causes you to discard this card, create a token that's a copy of target permanent. So we'll see what they're going for. Looks like they're simply just going to go ahead and pass the turn, expecting Jorn coming down. So let's go ahead and go Mouth. Yeah, just because I feel like we're walking into a counter spell, let's see if we can't roll out 3 visits. Yeah, kind of like that. Let's see if we can't roll out 3 visits. We'll go for that. If they do have counter magic, all right, so they do not. So we can have this land enter the battlefield, and that allows us to go for Cold Steel Heart. So I think what we'll end up doing on this one is just simply grabbing a Snow-Covered Forest. Yeah, that'll work out. So we go Snow-Covered Forest. Let's go for Cold Steel Heart. And let's go ahead and choose blue on this one. There we go. Anything else, pass the turn to our opponent. So, now with us playing against a mono blue deck, we do have to watch out for the counter magic over there. But, thankfully with Hydroid Crisis, this is a cast trigger. So, even if it does get countered, we're still going to be able to get that card draw ability, which is very nice. We're playing against Orvar, and I think that was, yeah, there's no backside to Orvar. And in fact, let's go and make Orvar normal size. There we go. That way Orvar doesn't get mad. So we did cover both commanders. Let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors, TCG Player. If you go to bit.ly/JoltMTG, that's going to apply my affiliate link. It's allow you to get some cards and help support the channel at the same time. So if you use that, hey, much obliged. Also, let's give a quick shout out to inkgaming.com. If you go to inkgaming.com/Jolt, that's going to get you 10% off your order. My goodness, they stole our Lightning Greaves. On to Agent of Treachery. All right, so we got the... That's so good with Jorn. It is, but they've got it over there now. I think we do have Homeward Path in here, so if we can draw into that at some point, that would be a pretty good thing. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go Soul Ring. So we've got Soul Ring that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That'll be Hydroid Crisis for 2. I think at this point, with our opponent being shields down, let's go for Jorn, God of Winter. It's going to be 1, 2. And do we want to try to stick a Vampiric Tutor where our opponent is shields down? I think we're good with that. So let's tap down Ice Tunnel. Let's go for Vampiric Tutor. And let's get this popped out. So we do have Villainous Wealth in the hand, which is definitely going to help us out. We almost might want to grab Unbound Flourishing. I think that might be a pretty good option, you know, especially if we're going to be kind of doing this back and forth. So let's do that. So let's grab ourselves Unbound Flourishing. There we go. That's going to go on top of our library. Then anything else, we will pass the turn over to our opponent. I think we covered all the sponsors. Last but not least, I started at Patreons. If you'd like to directly support cool content like this, there's a link down in the description below. But if you're keeping score at home, it is officially free time. Let's have some fun. So I did make a few changes to Jorn, just a little bit. Went pretty heavy on the X spells with this deck initially, and that does work out. But it did get to the point to where it was kind of like, We need a few other things in here. So I kind of smoothed out some of the creatures. We do have Abominable Tree Folk in here, which is always just a wonderful thing to have. And Unbound Flourishing, there we go. So let's go and get that onto the battlefield, because that is hard, you know, unless they've got Raven Form in their hand. It's going to be hard for them to deal with Unbound Flourishing. So let's get Unbound Flourishing down. And then, so Orvar sitting at a 3/3, we could swing in, get some extra mana going, but I think what we'll do is we'll simply just pass the turn. So let's see if they've got Force of Will or something in there. There we go. So they'll let that resolve. And then anything else, yeah, we'll simply just pass the turn. So we're setting ourselves up for a pretty nice Hydroid Krasis, Villainous Wealth next turn. Anything else, kick it back over there. But yeah, with Jorn, you know, it was super heavy X spells. You can see we've got Unbound Flourishing out here. So we still have that X spell theme in here. But one of the things that we're trying to do is just kind of help reduce some of those. You know, there's just some times to where, you know, we have a couple different kind of, not necessarily goofy win condition X spells, like Suffer the Past or Suffer the Grave or something like that. I just reduced some of the ones that, it's almost more like win more, if that makes sense. So that's kind of what we reduced and added a few extra creatures in here, and we'll cover those in just a second. All right, so we got Maze of Ith. Let's have Maze of Ith come down. And that's going to be a Villainous Wealth for 5 or a Hydroid Krasis for a bunch. Let's do Hydroid Krasis. I like this. So it's going to be blue, Cold Steel Heart. And then we should get that double off of Hydroid Krasis. So let's click OK. And let's put the Hydroid Krasis trigger on the stack first, then the Unbound Flourishing trigger on the stack. So we're going to double the value of X. And so, and I think either way, yeah, look at that, X equals 8. So we're going to draw 4 cards. Oh yeah, all right, now we're getting somewhere. Okay, all right, and then we got an 8/8 Hydroid Krasis on the battlefield. So at this point, what we can do is we can just go and push in with Jorn, and if we end up making the trade with either Orvar or Agent of Treachery, that's perfectly fine with us, because we're going to be able to untap a pretty good chunk of our lands. Now, unfortunately, we aren't going to be able to use Ice Tunnel, because Maze of Ith enters the battlefield. That's going to be Dive Down on Agent of Treachery. Okay, that's going to be an extra copy of Agent of Treachery. The good thing is that we're going to have Damnation off of this, and this is going to be a really good way for us to hit the reset button on this board. So, all right, so we miss out on the extra untap step. And they do have snow-covered islands over there, so they've assembled the value train. Anything else, we will pass the turn. So we've got Demonic Tutor that's going to keep us open on anything that we need to go for. We might end up grabbing some sort of counter magic potentially, but at least with Demonic Tutor, that'll keep us open. And then having Damnation as a draw, that'll really help us out. Now, if things get a little bit wonky, we do got a Villainous Wealth to tap out for, but depending on what they've got from Orvar, Agent of Treachery is probably one of the best things that we could get from Villainous Wealth. And so we'll see. All right, it's going to be Gauntlet of Power coming down, probably naming blue, if I were to take a wild guess in the dark. And that is a pretty big crew. I mean, my goodness, look at that value. Agent of Treachery stealing Jorn. I like that. All right, so they're going to be able to swing in. And if our opponent wants to do, actually, they're just simply just going to go ahead and pass the turn. So we need to get this Damnation to stick. So let's go Flooded Strand. Let's go and crack Flooded Strand. And let's go and grab ourselves Island. And we actually need an extra black source to go for Damnation. I'm just now seeing that. So let's go Demonic Tutor. It's going to be 1/2 off of Soul Ring. And let's grab ourselves Chromatic Lantern. So let's go Chromatic Lantern. It's going to be 1/2. And that'll really help us out with Chromatic Lantern once we get that down, turning this Maze of Ith online. So we'll get down Chromatic Lantern. That'll turn us on for Damnation. Do we want to try to... They've got 1 card in hand, and we need this to happen. So let's do this first. Let's go and push in with Hydroid Krasis. We got a 9/9 coming across. They don't have any blockers in the air, so we're going to swing across for 9, drop them down to 20, and then we're going to go for a Damnation just to hit that reset button, because it's going to be so important for us to do that. So let's go Damnation. It's going to be black, black. It's going to destroy all creatures. It's going to send everybody back to the command zone and get rid of that Agent of Treachery line of play, which is something we definitely don't want to face. We're hoping that this last card in their hand isn't a counter magic, but at this point in the game, we really need this to resolve for this to happen. All right, so it's going to be Mystic Reflection. And that's going to be targeting Agent of Treachery. And we'll see what they end up gaining control of. I guess the only thing that yeah, Chromatic Lantern, yeah, that's fine. We're still going to have the mana for Villainous Wealth, which is important for us. So let's go Damnation. It's going to clear the board up. And then anything else. Yes, we'll turn Jorn back to the command zone. And let's go for Ponder off of this Cold Steel Heart. And that's going to be Torment of Hellfire, Thassa's Intervention. This Torment of Hellfire might actually work out really well, and I actually kind of do like Thassa's Intervention. So let's do this. Let's put Snow-Covered Swamp on top. Let's put Thassa's Intervention on top, and then Torment of Hellfire. Not going to shuffle our library because that's going to double with Unbound Flourishing. So yeah, I kind of like that. So anything else, we will pass the turn. So we've got Torment of Hellfire. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Torment for 12. They're going to be able to sack 4 permanents. It's going to make it 8. I think either way, if we go Torment of Hellfire followed up by a Villainous Wealth, I think that might kind of help us out. Now, we haven't really seen a good showing from Jorn. Jorn did get stolen very early on. But this is what makes the deck so good, is that there are times like this to where, we get to the late game, we've made some exchanges, and then you can just simply tap out for a huge X-Spell, and that's going to allow you to get back into the game pretty quick. All right, it's going to be Lightning Greaves on Orvar. And one of the good things with Lightning Greaves is that, not that they're going to be making a copy of Orvar, but at the very least, you can't target any of their creatures with Lightning Greaves, so that's going to work out for us. So see what they're going for. That's going to be tapping down for 2 as they attack, and that's going to be a Foretell card. So we're potentially looking at Foretell Counter Magic, and so that also might put us in maybe going for Villainous Wealth. Okay, so let's make the land drop for the turn. It's going to be Rimewood Falls. I'm trying to figure out how to play this. If they had Counter Magic, I still think we've got to jam this Torment of Hellfire and see if it sticks. So it's going to be 2 of them that they're going to have to answer for. So let's go. Oh, excuse me. We do not have double black. So yeah, let's just wait. I forgot that we didn't have double black. So we're not. Yeah, and they stole our Chromatic Lantern. So let's see if we can't stick this Thassa's Intervention. And then that way next turn we can either counter something or we can look at the top X cards of our library. And with Unbound Flourishing out there, that's really going to help us out, kind of dig a lot deeper. Because right now we're looking at an Thassa's Intervention for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that'll be 12. So we can dig a little bit deeper. I think that sounds pretty good. And if there's something that we need to get rid of, then we can. That's going to be Shimmering Mirage on land. Draw a card. This is going to be an extra copy of that Snow-Covered Island. And that is something that whenever I built Orvar, it completely slipped my mind that you could basically just, make copies of your lands and get extra copies of that, So I do need to incorporate some more stuff like Shimmering Mirage. But if you do want to check out my Orvar video, I had a lot of fun doing it. It's the Volrath card, whatever that is, where you have the buyback. My goodness. Talk about some good magic right there. All right, so we got Orvar swinging in. That's going to be a 4/4 coming across, dropping us down to 20. That will put us up to 8 total commander damage. And we are going to jam this Thassa's Intervention at our opponent's instep. This is going to help us out because if we do hit the black source off of Thassa's Intervention, if they feel like they need to counter it. Oh, and I forgot with Gauntlet of Power, that's going to tap down blue for extra. Yeah, I kind of like that. So let's go Thassa's Intervention. All right, so we got Thassa's Intervention for 7. That's going to be an extra copy of it if they don't counter it. All right, so we got double Thassa's Intervention. All right, so let's get this going. So we're looking at the top X cards of our library. Top 7, Snow-Covered Swamp. That's exactly what we need. Let's grab Snow-Covered Swamp. That's going to be Crux of Fate. Yeah, can't go wrong with Cyclonic Rift. Bring both of those back. Get another Thassa's Intervention for 7. Let's grab ourselves Ancient Tomb. And then I think at this point, we'll probably end up doing just grabbing another land. We could go for crop rotation if we wanted to, but with what we've got going on, we just want to make sure we're making our land drop. So let's go grab Snow-Covered Island. There we go. Then anything else past the turn. So yeah, I think at this point, we've got to go for this Torment of Hellfire. Let's drop in Snow-Covered Swamp so we have double black. There we go. And now, let's go for the Torment of Hellfire and see if this is going to stick. Okay, so we're going to have a Torment for 9, and then we're going to have another Torment for 9. So hopefully this should be good. If they've got a counterspell there. All right, opponent's going to scoop it up on that one, so that is going to be just enough. Not a crazy showing from our side of the board, but, we did the best that we could, considering that they did take Jorn very early on. And that's one of the good things. This is a very Jorn-dependent deck. We need to have Jorn on the battlefield, get those untapped steps going. But if we do get to the late game, we've got the mana, our game plan still doesn't change because it's the Sultai X spells. Torment of Hellfire, Villainous Wealth. If we're playing against more of a permanent heavy deck, deck. Could have gone for a little bit more of a fun win, revealing us well for 9. But at this point, it's just going to be sooner than later that our opponent draws some sort of answer, so we needed to close it out with Torment of Hellfire. So there we go. But you can see the value with Orvar. I mean, if you can steal Jorn with Orvar and you're running Snow-Covered Islands, that's some pretty good value. So anyways, if you enjoyed the video, hey, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.